I never thought I'd let things go this far. I don't know what I was thinking. Who knows what's going to happen? Hello, welcome. So when I left you yesterday, I was trying to get gauge for my foxy chops from the Knitted Animal Friends book. In the middle there. Doesn't look like she'd be any trouble to anyone, does she? Oh no, but she is. So the size of needle they wanted you to use was 2.75 and that was coming up too big. I've not got the right yarn. Please watch the video before for more information if you didn't see it. So I couldn't find, I wanted a 2.5, couldn't find any needles like that. So I thought, oh, what about in DPNs? So I went looking in DPNs and the only ones I found were these. That's not a needle, that's a toothpick. Look, it's ridiculous. So, but it comes up, well, it comes up a little bit tighter, but I'm thinking that's okay because I like the fabric that it's creating. As I said yesterday, I'm thinking about the stuffing and keeping that covered. So, yes. So I'm happy with gauge, so we're moving forward, but yes, I'm going to have to order some proper needles though, because these ones were from Wool and the Gang. Do you remember, if you're a sock knitter, a few years ago, Wool and the Gang brought out a yarn that was supposed to do animal print, and they sent me some with a load of needles as a gift. And I didn't end up really making them because you had to get the gauge exactly right. So it's just like self striping, it was a self animal printing, which is a great idea. But they sent me like a light blue and a light pink as well, which isn't really my colours, so I didn't really engage with it. I would have preferred animal colours for an animal print. I don't know if they still make it, I haven't seen it. I don't think it really took off. I'm thinking probably because the same reason as me, when you knit socks, you just want to get on with it, don't you? Not try all different needles to try and get the right animal print so it comes out properly. But I digress. So, this, I've cast on the first piece. Where is it? So where you start, oh look, I shall use my toothpick. Where you start is down here at the neck, and so I'm coming up, so I've got two sides of the brown with the cream in the middle. So that's the part that I'm starting with, and that is how far I've got so far. I have got 3 balls hanging majestically, because what I decided I would do, because that cream, I'll shut the book now, because the cream on his face is going to get wider and wider, I thought I would just have the brown, so I'm not travelling the brown across each time. I thought I would just have a ball for each side and then the cream in the middle, just to keep it a bit tidier, because I do try and keep things tidy. So that's all I've got at the moment. So I am enjoying it. I was asked if this would be okay for quite a beginner knitter, and I would say no, just because the instructions so far are straightforward. It's just some increases and changing colour. But what I'm finding, I'm getting into it now, but because the needles are so small, it is quite fiddly. So because of that reason, I would say just be a bit more experienced before you try doing this. I mean, you could try, it's up to you if you want to try. As I say, so far it hasn't been hard. From reviews, people have said it's the clothing that seems to be harder rather than the actual knitting the animals. But as I say, I was finding it very fiddly to get going, and now I'm getting more into my stride. But I wouldn't recommend it for a newer knitter. Obviously as well with the gauge, you need to be consistent with your gauge so that your body parts do end up the right shape and they're not too big and too small or whatever. So yeah, but I'm getting progress on this, so I'm happy about that. I'm going to be blocking, giving this a good bath, the Boneyard shawl from Stephen West. So this is how it's looking. So I did quite a big border on it in the end. So I'm going to soak that and block that to get rid of, because I pulled some yarn out from some socks, it definitely needs a block, and just straighten out some of those stitches and things. So that is a job for today. I'm not going to start my Whitmore today. The reason is because I want to finish off this one, because literally on the ribbon at the bottom, so it seems silly to start another sweater when I've literally just got ribbon to do on this one. So I'm going to carry on with that this evening, and I should get that off the needles and then start that new one tomorrow. So yes, hopefully you'll be seeing me wearing it tomorrow. Hopefully. What else was I going to talk about? I noticed on Netflix, if you subscribe to Netflix, that Firefly Lane, I shall put it down here, has their second season's come. So if you haven't watched that before, I would recommend it if you have Netflix. I really liked it. I'm going to wait until after all the Vlogmases are finished, because I'm having trouble keeping up with everybody that I want to watch anyway. So I'm going to save that, so when I've got time and all the Vlogmases have ended after Christmas, and I'll enjoy that. What it's about is, it's about female friendship basically. It's two ladies, they met when they were best friends when they were teenagers, and now they're in their 40s. And so they've gone to completely different paths. They both went into being reporters, and both ended up on a TV news programme. But then one of them went off and got married, had children. The other one carried on with her career and ended up having her own chat show and being in the public eye. And it's just all the dramas that are going on in their life within the marriage, and both envying each other's life. The one that hasn't got a family wants a family. The one that's got a family envies the career the other one's made up. And I really enjoyed it. I really like both of the characters. And it's very entertaining. I remember I binge watched it last time, and it was one of those ones that when you get onto the last programme, you're like, no, because you're going to miss the characters because you really enjoyed it. A lot of it as well being my age, because they were in the 80s. I'm sure it's the 80s or 90s. I'm sure it's the 80s. That was their teenage years. So I was a teenager, late 80s. That really connected with me as well. So I think that's why I like. So they might be actually into their 50s now. But anyway, yes, really good. I would highly recommend it if you got Netflix. Check that out. The other thing I wanted to mention, mainly because I've just had my head in the freezer. What are you having for dinner tonight? Because I am just, you know, when you get to that point where you think, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to cook. I don't really want to cook anything. What am I going to cook? So we have ended up with, we call them chicken knuckles, chicken thighs that I usually cook in the oven so the skin goes crispy. And then we have them with roasted vegetables, spaghetti with some chili sauce on the vegetables, spaghetti like mixed up together. So that's how we're going to have them. But I listen to Sarah Cox on Radio 2 on the way home from work in the evenings, and she asked for everyone's dinspiration, which is, what is your inspiration for dinner tonight? But I don't hear what everyone phones in because I'm home by the time people start saying what they're having, and I only get to hear what her newsreader says because she asked her the question. But she's a vegetarian, and she comes up with really unusual and wacky things that I'm never going to cook. So that's no help whatsoever. So let me know, what are you having for dinner tonight? Give me some inspiration for next time I go shopping to mix it up a bit. So that is all I ask of you. Thank you. So I am going to go and put this shawl into soak, and then I'm going to do a bit of housework, and then it'll be lunchtime. So I shall catch up with you later. realised I haven't even sorted out my advent yet. So I thought, right, it is time for a cup of tea. Open up the Christmas sweets and fill the little pockets, because I think I should have 3 because I'm 3 days behind. So I didn't make this one. This is from Home Sense. I bought it a few years ago. Oh, can I hold it back far enough? So yes, she is what I put all my little sweets in. Say hello. Hello. So she's going to look after all my sweets so I don't go without in the future. So let's see what we have. Pick out all the good ones. So Maltesers, that's for me. Bounty, definitely for me. Galaxy for me. Right, now we just do random, shall we? So Gary does get a look in at some point. She says still picking out her favourites. So yes, I'm going to fill up this and then I'm going to hang it at the bottom of the stairs so that I can have a little sweet every day. I've been busy since I last spoke to you, so I have soaked this in the sink. Luckily, we've got a big sink downstairs in our shower room. So I gave this a good bath. And this is the Boneyard Shawl by Stephen West, free pattern. So I gave it a nice soak in there and then squeezed it out in a towel. And then I've tried this. I've never tried this method before. So all I've done is, this is like a clothes rail because I generally use this as a bit of a laundry room. So yeah, I know people dry their, sort of block their shawls on washing lines, and I've never done that. So I thought, oh, I wonder if I can just peg it on here and see if that will work. So we shall see how it turns out. It's a bit longer than it is. So I've got like hangers here, and I've like connected it to hangers both sides, so it's like got ears. So hopefully it won't turn out a funny shape, but we shall see. Just working with what I've got. That's what we do around here, work with what you've got. So that is my shawl sorted out. I've also been out in the garden. It looks lovely out there. The sky is just lovely and blue, and it looks like it's sunny. So I went out there and thought, yes, let's go for some nice weather. And it's freezing. It is actually freezing outside. So I've got very cold hands now. I didn't put any gloves on because I thought it was nice. So I have been taking up, this is the gardening question that I said yesterday I wanted some help with. So I took some footage. It's the geraniums. I'm sure they're called geraniums. So the summer bedding geraniums. I heard that, and I've seen YouTube videos saying that you can overwinter them inside and then they sleep through the winter and then you bring them out next year. And I had some quite good plants this year. They really took to it nicely, surprisingly, because we had such a long hot summer. So the method they were showing was putting them into paper bags. So I'm using my Primark bags. So I put them in the Primark bag and I've put them into the garage. And also it says that you can put your pots, if they're just in a pot, you can put your pots like inside, and then they'll be okay like that, and just bring them out in the spring. So have you got any words of wisdom? Is this something you do? And if so, how do you deal with it? Am I supposed to do anything to look after them? They seem to just leave them, and yeah, no water. I think some of them that I've pulled up from the front, I didn't get much of a root, so I don't know if they will survive. I mean, if they don't, it doesn't matter because I can get some more next year. But I just thought because they did do quite well this year, I would like to try and keep them so I can use them again next year rather than buy in smaller plants again. So yeah, I would appreciate your help on that. I have this clematis, or clematis, however you say it. I bought it in the spring and planted it, and through the summer it grew really well, but then through that hot spell it really died back and went all brown, and so I thought I'd lost it, so I chopped it right down and let it regrow again. And then when I saw later that it had all these buds, I was really excited about it. But then all the flowers are looking at the ground. So they've got the most beautiful flowers, but they're all hanging their heads in shame, and it's such a pity. So I don't know, I think when they took the picture for like this is what it will look like, it must have been like that. They must have been laying on the ground and taking it up like that. Because mine don't look like that, so I'm very disappointed, but they are beautiful. It's just a shame you can't see them because it's full of them. It would have been a really nice show, but oh well. At least it's alive. So I think I'm going to leave it there for today because so far I've been editing quite late, so it'd be nice to have a nice relaxing evening with a glass of wine early on and get this editing done beforehand. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Happy knitting!